how's things with you?
Sure. It's all right now. It's been a different summer than the last two ones. The last two, I suppose, it was kind of into June, start of July before things got real busy. But now I'd say 2/3 the baling. It's, I don't know what day it is today, the 6th of July or something. But I'd say 2/3 the baling are done. Like.
And would you do many bales in the year?
We do somewhere between 13 and 16,000 usually. Is kind of where we'd be. It depends the year. 2019 was the heaviest year we ever did.
Did you do any that year?
It was close to 16, just under 16 or something along them lines.
And you'd be running one time or
yeah,
one do it like?
One baler would do it. There's lots of lads out there doing 20,000 bales with one baler and that, but the way it comes, a lot of our customers will be part-time farmers and that, and when we'll say they're working during the week, the weekend is when it suits them to do most of the baling, and then you need the two balers. You just wouldn't manage with one, and you don't want to be out early in the morning or late at night either. No one wants the silage brought in like that either, so it kind of, if you have to put out two, you put out two, but you probably would do them numbers of one if the weather and everything played ball. Do you know the weather's the big thing as well? Like.
Oh, it is. It's on the weather, sure.
Yeah, for a bit of it.
So I suppose tell us a bit about Moore contracting.
Well, Moore Agri was started by my father. Started Moore Agri late 1980s. He was working for another contractor. His father died when he was very young, when Dad was only 11, and he was farming away and he was working for other contractors. And he started small square baling first. He had an international tractor and a welder small square baler, and he started the round baling. Then after that he had two Crone 130s on, I think it was a 178 and a 590 was the first baling outfit with an international wrap and with a McHale wrapper.
Shit.
That was the start of it. And since then it was Crone balers all the way along. It was round packs, combi packs. We started with the integrated baler wrappers kind of, I think it was around 2004 that, and
how did you find them?
they were a good baler, but if they broke down, they really broke down. They really caused trouble. They didn't need any hydraulic system. They ran their own. They had their own hydraulic tank, and because of that, we were running them on 62 series massey, smaller 62 series, and you were able to do the baling with them. You didn't need huge horsepower compared to a Fusion. Like I'd find it very hard to drive a Fusion now in a 6270 or something along them lines.
I'd say that you would.
So that was kind of where it is. We started with baling. Slurry spreading then was next. Then Dad started hedge cutting. He was hedge cutting. The only other tractor we had other than Masseys with a Dietz, I think it was a 606. That started hedge cutting for us with a Conall hedge cutter, and we're hedge cutting all the time. We've kind of cut down on that now. We do everything else still. We're kind of baling, slurry spreading, muck spreading, fertilizer spreading, reseeding, other tillage work, spraying, small bits of combining now, not much, but a small bit of combining as well, just in recent years. That's kind of everything we kind of do now.
And the tillage been decided to it's actually taken off for you in the last 2 or 3 years?
It has. Dad was always at tillage years ago, but when he was at it, it was pull a 3-furrow, kind of plough with no springs or just shear bolts on this kind of ground around here, which, as we know from even today baling earlier, is stony enough, and maybe pull a spring harrow over it, then fertilizer spreader, maybe one bag of 10-10-20 and just see how it goes.
Yeah.
I did ag science in college the first time, and I had a massive interest in tillage. I was always interested in tillage myself and that, and we decided then when I was finished college we'd go back at it again, and we started back at the tillage. We bought our own combine and everything, and we've been tipping away at it. We grow winter and spring cereals now. We have this year we have winter barley, spring oats, and spring wheat. So we have a bit of everything now again.
And would you prefer the spring crops to the winter crops?
No, I like the winter crops better. I'd say, yeah, anyone to kind of grow a crop of spring stuff fairly handy. Well, not fairly handy, but it's easier to grow spring stuff, whereas you have to get the winter stuff more.
Yeah, more precise.
More precise. There's a lot more looking at the crop and more precision with the crop. Like I love crops. I'd spend a lot of time walking out in crops and that kind of thing and looking at them. And for an area that's not a huge tillage area, I would have a big interest in it. Like
no, like not far from here. Like it's nearly all wooded area.
It is. Like a lot of the area is forestry and bog, and even you were out recording or sowing spring corn this year, and there was huge bog fires even all around us.
There was.
But in fairness, we're lucky enough. Our own farm is fairly dry, and it does suit the tillage, and even this kind of work as well. I'm actually a teacher as well, so it kind of suits to have the tillage, you have the summer off, and for the bale and that kind of thing as well. It all kind of integrates.
You can kind of get nearly all done in the summer.
Yeah, you get a lot of it done. Yeah, well, we used to have a lot of suckler cows as well, and we kind of cut down in the suckler cow side of things. We only have 11 suckler cows this year. We nearly had 40 only 4 or 5 years ago. So we kind of cut back on that as well. As I said, I wouldn't be around as much, and Dad's been working hard his whole life now. He's kind of not too bothered, kind of.
Yeah, you kind of want to pull back a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Enjoy life.
That's it. Yeah, that has to be done too.
So he's kind of still really part of the business. You know,
Yeah, Dad would be. Yeah, in the summertime now, Dad would do all the tedding, every bit of the tedding now. Dad would do. No one else drives the tedder, only Dad. After that, then most of the baling and mowing is myself or some of the lads that work for us there. Well, we have one lad main full time there, and if we needed help, I get another, maybe a friend or that they used to drive for us to work on the weekends or that. But kind of myself, one other lad, and then Dad does a lot of the tedding and that, and that's kind of what keeps us going in the summer there.
And I suppose going back to the tillage, kind of, would you be up in many acres considering the first year?
We'll be couldn't. The first year we started, we got back. We had 10 acres. We bought. We had, as I said, we had a 3-furrow non-reversible plough. The first year we bought a 4-furrow reversible, and we bought an Amazon 1-pass. And after that, it was 10 acres. We had no combine. We got a cut and hire that year, and we bought our own combine in the second year. It's the TX34. We're about 130 acres of cutting this year in total. Is kind of where we're at now, and hopefully maybe stay kind of tipping up on numbers. We'll say if I got up to kind of 150. I'd be kind of fairly happy at that. I don't want to take on too much either and not be able to kind of manage it, you know.
You have to have a limit somewhere.
Exactly, yeah. Well, look, everyone could stay going, but you need to kind of find what suits you too. You don't want to be.
Oh yeah, that's it. Like, there's no point going too big.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Like we do get a lot of bad winters.
Well, that is for sure. Like the first year we had our own combine there. The TX, I had land myself taken. A bit of land I just took, and I decided to put spring corn in it. It was sown in May, it was barley. And the first day I went into the field, I went up. I knew the man I bought the combine off. I bought the combine off Armstrong's, but the lad that had it before me, I got in contact. I seen it was designed for dual wheels, and I got in contact with him. I got the dual wheels. And when I got the dual wheels, I put them on the first day out. I said, the land's a bit wet, but I said, we'll be all right. I said, there won't be a loss. So I got stuck straight away with the combine. So that was a learning curve straight away on the kind of land you kind of need to.
Yeah, kind of. Not every land is suitable.
No. You can try it all you want, but not every bit of ground is suited to it now.
I'm sure, as they say, every day is a learning.
Yeah, well, that is for sure. Every day is a learning day. That is for sure.
So I suppose kind of what tractors in there you're running now, like?
At the moment, we're in the 7720 at the moment. It's a year old. We run a 7718 as well, 7616, 6612, and then we run a 2020 Bobcat telehandler.
And how do you find the Bobcat?
Love the Bobcat, absolutely love it. I do have more people messaging me asking about the Bobcat the whole time. What's the Bobcat like? What are they like? They're very reasonable priced compared to some of the other, we'll say, the other brands. But the Bobcat they are super too.
And like they wouldn't be mad popular bar side like. Yeah.
No, but they've only seemed to be kind of like, the reason we bought a Bobcat is a Massey Ferguson teleporter is a Bobcat, and as we are kind of Massey men here, we were looking at Massey teleporters and we seen they were Bobcat.
Yeah.
And we went and we looked at a Bobcat at the ploughing, and we decided, Jesus, this is kind of, it was a fairly nice machine. Like, it had a lot of extras that other ones didn't have, and that it came very well finished. And they're five years warranty with a Bobcat.
Sure.
So there's a lot of warranty with one.
Yeah,
and we'll probably, after the 5 years pass, we'll probably try and change it again and buy another one.
And would you put up many hours in that?
600 hours a year is kind of what it's doing. About 600. Dad does a lot of the farm work now in the Bobcat, and the other time of the year, a lot of work. You'd be surprised the amount of work you have for a teleporter if you had one. Like, you couldn't compare. We've one tractor and loader. The 6612 has a tractor and loader, and you couldn't compare a tractor and loader to a teleporter. Not at all.
And when you talk to them, they'll always prefer a little teleporter, a little load and shovel over the tractor.
Yeah, that's always,
And like, would you put out much dung now with the Bobcat?
We probably do dung for maybe 12 or 13 people. Dung wouldn't be that popular. A lot of our customers will be suckler farmers.
Yeah.
The farm we're on here now at the moment is all dung. There's no slurry in it. There's 6 bays of dung here, and that gets all dung. But it wouldn't be overly popular. We would, like, a lot of people would be able to wait till every second year before they'd have to put out dung.
Yeah, that's it.
So, that's the other side of it.
So I suppose, with you running McHale's the last couple of years, did you ever look at changing?
No, wouldn't dream. But this is a new Fusion. This is a brand new Fusion this year, and I kind of rang about a few other balers and that. But in fairness to McHale Farm Machinery, anytime we have any issue with either tractor, the tractors all come from McHale's as well. And if there's ever an issue with a tractor or with a baler, if you ring them, they're absolutely unbelievable. They will come out and sort it, or even the mechanics, the McHale mechanics there for the Massey Fergusons, you ring them over the phone, they're able to tell you, you can stay going, or you can do this, you can do that, any hour of the day. In fairness, the service is absolutely brilliant there, so no, couldn't change. Yeah, no, that's what you need, especially at this crack. If you're going to run machinery, you have to keep it going.
Yeah, that's it. Like,
downtime it just cannot happen at this track.
And I suppose, would you cover much of a big area?
At the moment we're just outside Montbellew. We do work, we'll say, small bit of work up here around Newbridge, mainly Ballygar. Ballygar area will be our main area to cover. Kind of small bit up towards Ballyfour, and I don't know what the radius of that is, but a bit of work everywhere. Like, I would do tillage work further afield. I've done a good bit of tillage work in Roscommon town the last 2 years.
But that's still not, I suppose, 20 minutes from you?
Yeah, well, it's 20 minutes in a car. Yeah. In a tractor, it's probably 40 or maybe an hour in a tractor. I wouldn't like travelling too far for anything. It's only when, we'll say, if you had all your own tillage done in spring and you weren't at anything else, if you hadn't much slurry to do within or that, and a job come up like that when you can kind of go to it any time, you're not under any time pressure. It's okay to take them on then, but I wouldn't be running and racing to go too far either. So with the hedge cutting, when we used to do hedge cutting on a big enough scale, we were doing hedge cutting very far. We're hedge cutting up near Athlone, Dunmore. We're doing a serious area for hedge cutting. Yeah. But as I said, we have kind of cut back on that. That's, I think you have a video of us hedge cutting, where we have reduced the amount of hedge cutting we've been doing.
And how come though?
Like that now, we'll say working now as a teacher, it doesn't suit me to be doing that kind of work in the winter. And on top of that, Dad used to get a very bad back every winter, and we reckon the hedge cutting was contributing to it a lot. Like, you're turning left there the whole time. And like, you're going from one rush into another. That was one thing about the hedge cutting. It's the kind of job you would imagine you don't have to rush in at. Yeah. But September onwards, what happens is, like, you're going from one rush into another. You're just finishing up on silage, and everyone would want to kind of get the hedge cutting done before the land to get wet. And everyone would want the hedge cutting done before the land get wet, and it was just so hard managing. Like, you're going from one rush into another, and Jesus, like, it's no good being that busy all the time either. Like, it's not good for your own mental health. Like, just going from working 7 days a week at one thing into another thing straight away, and never being able to have a day off, or never being able to plan anything or go anywhere. Like, you can do nothing when you're like that the whole time. So we still do a bit of hedge cutting, but we didn't really do much last year on hire. We only did about 100 hours last year on hire. That's all we did.
Yeah, but like, going back there to mental health too, like, it actually it does mean a lot to have time off to do your own few bits too. Like,
it is. It's very important. Like, it's something that's forgotten about, and we've seen it a lot, sadly, in recent years. Yeah. The mental health side of things with the farming can be, it can be hard to talk to someone or that, but you just need to take the time to do it. Like, if you had, even I seen someone put up something, I don't know, as a TikTok or Instagram or something the other day, saying when you're baling all day like that, take a half an hour maybe, if you can, sometime, just to get out of the tractor even, just to stretch the legs instead of being up. Like, there's often times there when the phone will be ringing and the pressure will be on, and I don't want to talk to anyone, or I wouldn't talk to anyone, or they'd be afraid to talk to me in case I get thick nearly or something. But you need to just take it as you can, take it as it comes, and mind yourself anyway, more than anything else, if you can at all.
And try not to get too stressed.
Yeah, try not to get too stressed. Yeah.
And it is hard not to get stressed now in this game.
It is, especially
On,
as we said earlier. If you break down at all, that's when the stress really comes. Like the other day now, for example, we run 3 moors. We run 2 moors usually on this tractor, a Caverland front moor and a Crone rear mounted, and we have a trail moor then as well. And the trail moor that we have, the Hardy Spicer went in it the other day, and like the plan was that the trail moor would go kind of this direction and the doubles would go the other direction, and when the trail moor couldn't go that direction then, and you kind of had a couple of lads promise, well, he'd be there at maybe 1 or 2, like, and you have to ring again and plan, and they'd be like, when are you coming then or that, and you're kind of trying to think, okay, how can I get there next, or what could I do? You'd nearly be tempted to take the back moor off and just go with the front moor one way and put the back moor the other way or something, you know. But it just, when things like that happen, it can be, it is a very stressful job, like, there is no doubt about it. But all you do is make a plan. Once you make your plan for a day, and if it stays going, have a second plan, have a plan B as well, and you won't be too bad then after that.
Oh yeah. If you had one dream bit of gear that you could buy, what would it have to be?
One dream bit of gear, I'd say, if I could get, at the moment, what I'd love altogether, what I'd really love to get, I'd love to get a TX 64 or 65. I don't know, can I justify one? That's what I really would like realistically, but if I could get anything I wanted now, I'd say I'd probably buy maybe a Dyna VT 7S 190 or an 8S. I like the 8Ss. A lot of people didn't like the 8Ss when they came out, but I do. I like the 8Ss. I think they're a lovely tractor.
Grow on me now, in fairness.
I was in an open day in Dublin. I was at WBD open day there last week, and I went up and there was a couple of 8Ss there, and I sat in a few of them, and I have to say, geez, the cab. A lot of people say they didn't like this big square cab, but Jesus, when you sit in that cab, the difference, the cab is so modern compared to this cab. Like, they really have done a good job on it, I think.
You actually have some view compared to here.
Yeah, this, like,
it's open.
And in fairness, this is a big enough cab, I find. Like, compared to some other brands of tractors I've sat in, I find the Massey cab has a nice bit of space. I don't know, you've sat in a lot of cabs of tractors, but I find the Massey is fairly spacious. But the new 8S, oh Jesus, I'd say the space that they have in them is unreal altogether. And they seem to be a great tractor. Like, the only thing is they're very heavy. I've read that some of them are nearly 10 ton, including all the fluids. And for a 200 horsepower tractor, that's a serious weight. This tractor's 8.5 ton. Like, if you're going, they're the equivalent, an 8S 205 is the equivalent to this tractor.
Right.
Whereas if you're going from 8.5 ton to 10 ton, now I'm not sure is that fully accurate, but I read that somewhere.
Yeah.
And that just seems like mad weight for a tractor that horsepower. Like, something like that I'd be really thinking about as well a lot of the time, since we're at the tillage, is soil compaction as well, a serious thing. I'd like to have, I think if you could have our next tractor I'd say we buy will probably be a 6S 180 or a 7S 180. I'd probably prefer a 7S 180. The father's kind of thinking more a 6S 180 because he does a lot of grassland spraying in spring and higher. He do 1,000 acres or more grassland spraying, and he was saying if you had something like that that's very light on diesel, because our 6.6, our 4-cylinder Massey is very light on diesel compared to these. Like, it really is very light on diesel compared to the 6 cylinders. If you could get something like that for the likes of spraying, and we're hoping the next purchase, we'll say for spring next year, is a GPS controlled fertilizer spreader, and we might do a bit of higher with that as well if we get one. And a tractor like that would suit for that kind of thing as well, you know.
Have you ever thought of flotation tyres or?
Yeah, something I want to do as well. I'd love to get a set of 800s for drilling, for sowing, we'll say, especially the winter stuff, because ground conditions can be a bit sticky. They mightn't be fully right, they might be fully fit, and when you're sowing, we'll say if you have a drill there at the back, and I don't know what weight the drill would be, but if you could have, let's say the drill is 1.5 ton or 2 ton, and if you have another 500 kilos of seed in it or that, like, and if you have a front press on maybe as well, it's a lot of weight as well. I'd like to get maybe a set of 800s or something, mainly for that kind of work. And it seems to leave, I've worked with them before, and it seems to, you know, like, you could often see wheelings there from compaction and that kind of thing. From your standard, like, it's 650s that are on this tractor now, and they're a wide tyre, but they're not really wide enough either if you want to really do a nice job.
For sure, like, that's the thing with soil compaction after a few years, same pass every time.
Yeah, same pass every time. We'd always try and put an angle kind of on our tillage when we're kind of tilling on a bit of ground, try and put an angle so you're not driving the same track, or plough it a different way, or we'll say, well, you have to plough it a different way every year anyway, but we'll say maybe drill it a different direction or that, and
Kind of helps.
yeah, something we've been doing a lot lately now is integrating kind of cover crops into it. We're using tillage radish as one of our cover crops, and that seems to be doing a good job of compaction. It has a very deep taproot, and it
How long are you using that?
using it now 3 years. 3 years now we're using it, and it seems to be, they reckon, like a lot of something that's really coming in now, and they're really pushing for is this direct drilling. Now I don't know, does it suit around here as much? A lot of lads, well, not a lot of lads, but there is a couple of lads doing the direct drilling, but cover crops are an important part of that, and the only way they have of kind of getting rid of compaction, because they're not subsoiling and that kind of thing, is these cover crops with likes of tillage radish or deep taproots like that, and they seem to be getting on very well with it. Like, and I'd say it is a good system if you could get organised enough for it, but I'd say you'd have to be really on the ball with that system.
Oh, I'd say that.
But it is a big thing, like a soil erosion from ploughing, and we'll say the carbon you release and everything from ploughing as well is definitely a problem. Like, but any kind of small thing you can do like that to reduce it.
Oh yeah, it's all a bonus. Like,
Yeah.
it's all a bonus. Are you running fusions now for many years? Like,
The first fusion we bought was 2009, Fusion 2. We ran 2 Fusion 2s till 2016. We bought the first Fusion 3, and as I said, this is our next Fusion 3 now. It's a 1000 shaft camless. Straight Fusion 3, both our fusions are straight, they're not pluses, either of them. We're talking to our customers before we change them both times. Asked had anyone an interest in the barrel wrapper that, and no one had an interest. The Fusion 3 Plus is a good bit more expensive than this.
oh, I'd say that.
And there's no point buying things like that if you don't need them. Like, we're getting on very well. We're baling here. We're probably making 60 or 70 bales an hour. We're only putting on, we'll say, our 8 rotations a wrap. And as you can hear yourself from the camera, we nearly have a bale made by the time there's a bale made there now, and the wrapper's just finished. And like the wrapper spins very fast. And it's doing 35, 37 RPM there when it's spinning on that monitor. So
It works well.
it works well. Like, we're getting on well with it. Why would we change the system?
And are you a fair way now from harvest?
I would say Wednesday. I'd say today is Sunday, so I'd say Wednesday will probably, I'd hope to go, I'd hope to get going then. I reckon anyway. Crops are looking fairly good. The winter stuff is looking good. Because the price of fertiliser this year we did seriously reduce. I went out with a small bit of 0730, a bag and a half to the acre at sowing, and then after that I cut nearly all the compound in spring. I didn't put any phosphorus out. Our P indexes, we'd soil sample everything, the P indexes were looking strong. Didn't put out any phosphorus in spring. I put out 1 bag of muriated potash to the acre because I wanted to get a certain amount of K in just to kind of strengthen the straw, and I think that K kind of does help a good bit with yield as well. And I went with urea then because it's the cheapest form of nitrogen, and a bit of sulphur can as well, just kind of get the sulphur back into the system. We kind of went down to 120, 130 units to the acre on winter barley. You'd normally kind of be aiming for maybe 150 or that.